My name is Sister Charity Bbalo. I'm a religious sister of the Holy Spirit from the Diocese of Monze in Zambia. Our congregation was founded by Bishop James Cowboy, who was the first bishop of Monze Diocese, and he was an Irishman. He was a Jesuit. The congregation was founded shortly after the Second Vatican Council, when there was a renewed outpouring of the Holy Spirit in the church, because the third person of the Blessed Trinity was to be announced to the people of the world. So that is why Bishop James Cowboy decided to call our congregation the Religious Sisters of the Holy Spirit. Yes, so as Religious Sisters of the Holy Spirit, our charism is dedication and openness to the Holy Spirit, continuing Christ's mission. And this is found in Constitution 2.1. And then our mission is to proclaim and give witness to the power and influence of the Holy Spirit wherever we are. So this is done through the involvement of the sisters in various ministries. The sisters are involved in education, health, social and pastoral work, as well as administration. A few months ago, as Religious Sisters of the Holy Spirit, we celebrated our Golden Jubilee of our foundation. So that is a picture of the celebration. So in conducting the examen process, I first of all asked for permission from the leadership team of the congregation to conduct the examen. And when they gave me the permission, then I sent the link via email to all the sisters in the congregation. I also sent the link on WhatsApp because some of the sisters do not access their emails frequently. At first, the responses were slow in coming, but after repeated reminders and informing them about the importance of this examen process, many sisters cooperated and they sent in their responses to the survey. So I sent the link to 32 of our sisters, and 27 sent back their responses, so which was about 84% of the total number of the sisters who were supposed to have responded to the survey. The responses were analyzed with the help of our program coordinator, Sarah. The results of the congregational survey revealed that the sisters are living out the following themes in a very adequate manner. And the first one is preferential option for the poor. Preferential option for the poor has always been a priority for the congregation, and emphasis has been on serving people who live on the margins, as can be seen from this quotation from our constitutions, which states that we commit ourselves to the integral development and liberation of the person in whatever we do. We, like Christ, are drawn especially to the poor and suffering and the victims of injustice. For example, in answer to the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the sisters sold hundreds of face masks and distributed them to the poor because they realized that many of them were unable to buy the surgical masks. So the sisters spent time, especially at night, in various communities to sew these masks, and then later they distributed them to areas where they felt that the people were unable to access enough masks and hand sanitizers to protect themselves from the COVID-19 pandemic. Sorry. So that is a photo of the mask drive that took place in one of the towns where the sisters are serving. After sewing the masks, they went out into the streets, and especially in areas where poor people live, and then they distributed the masks. And then another theme which the sisters mentioned that they are living out well is respect for the life and dignity of the person. And this is at the core of the mission of the Sisters of the Holy Spirit. For sisters who are in the medical field, our founder used to say that when a patient came to seek medical attention at the hospital, healing should begin at the entrance to the hospital. And then another way in which we are showing respect for life and dignity of the person is by enhancing the pastoral care of patients at Monze Mission Hospital. This hospital is a diocesan hospital, but it is managed by the Sisters of the Holy Spirit. So at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, the sisters sourced for funds to create an innovation where patients who are in isolation could be in contact with the outside world. So the sisters recorded messages of hope, and these were played on screens, which were mounted in the wards of the patients, so that they are not depressed and they are continually thinking about their disease. At least this helped to give them hope that people were thinking about them and that they cared for them. And then another way in which we foster respect for life and dignity of the person is by working with widows to improve their economic independence. In one of our communities, we have a group of women who meet every Monday with our sister who was trained in capacity building and is also a social worker. So she works with these widows to improve their economic independence by teaching them skills such as sewing and gardening. And then what they sow and what they grow is sold, and the money is shared among them to improve their economic sustainability. Sorry. So that is a photo of this group of widows, and that is a sister who is with them. They are in their nutrition garden, and when they grow these vegetables, they sell them, and then again they share the money which they use to improve their economic independence. So the widows are in the age group ranging from 35 to 65 years of age. So apart from the success stories and how the sisters are living out these themes that I have mentioned of Catholic social teaching, the survey also revealed that there are some challenges. There are some areas where we need extra attention in order to adequately incorporate CST in our ministries. And as the quotation states, challenges are great opportunities in disguise, because each challenge you accept opens a new door to your success. So the first challenge identified in the congregational examen was that sisters lack adequate knowledge about some themes of CST. So one of the themes where the sisters felt that they need to do more is on the rights of workers. The survey identified the fact that because of the low financial base of the sisters, there were inconsistencies in how the sisters paid the workers in their various institutions. And sometimes the workers were paid low wages, not because the sisters wanted them to be given low wages, but because the sisters did not have adequate monetary resources. Another challenge was on care for creation. The sisters are only getting to be part of the global conversation on care for our common home. And then another challenge was on community and participation. Sisters identified that there was little involvement in some pastoral aspects, such as family ministry, because most of our ministries are sort of in administration. So we work with people in a particular institution, and sometimes that can be a disadvantage because we don't go out to be with people in places where we are needed most. And then the sisters also felt that there was little knowledge related issues. So some of the survey results have been recorded on this presentation. For example, only 40% of the sisters felt that this aspect, this theme was very well lived. The rest of the congregation felt that there was still more that needed to be done in this area. And on the care for creation, only 20% of the sisters were satisfied with the activities and the programs that have been put in place by the congregation. 80% of the sisters still felt that we had not done enough in this area. And then on family life, community and participation, only 15% stated that the sisters were available for family life, they were available for community and participation, and that there was need for more. So moving forward, I came up with recommendations that I have since forwarded to the members of the leadership team of the congregation. And one of the recommendations is that there is need to improve the knowledge of the sisters in relation to Catholic social teaching. And this can be done through workshops, personal study, and reflection. Because the congregational examen revealed that 70% of the total number of sisters who took part in the survey stated that there was need for more training or study of CST by members of the congregation. And then most sisters suggested that there was need to introduce Catholic social teaching as an independent course to be studied during initial formation so that the young women who enter the congregation are well grounded in its teachings. And then the theme about community and participation in justice-related issues, sisters suggested that there was need for more involvement in pastoral work as well as family ministry. On the rights of workers, looking at the number of sisters who felt that there was need for more work in this area, I suggested to the leadership team that there was need to create a uniform contract to be used in all communities and institutions to lessen these inconsistencies that were identified. So if one house help, for example, in one community and another one in another community met, at least they will be able to share notes and realize that they had similar conditions of service. And then another recommendation is to strengthen the congregation's financial base by venturing into self-sustainable projects to support our ministries, because most of us are government workers. So we depend a lot on salaries, but they are not enough to help us run our ministries adequately. So there is need for us to venture more into some self-sustainable projects that will help us be able to run our ministries better, as well as pay our workers better. And then on the care for creation, Bishop Kobwe, our founder, was known for his love of nature. So stories are mentioned that if he came out of his office and was relaxing, he would go at the backyard and water the vegetables, or he would do some bird watching. So this already is supposed to be a motivation for us, that if our founder was in touch with nature, there's also need for us to find ways and means of joining the global conversation about caring for nature. And one way in which we can do this, as well as having vegetable gardens where we do not use artificial fertilizers. And then another recommendation is for the congregation to partner with organizations that are also fighting for the same cause of caring for creation. There is a Tonga proverb, "Finger cannot crush a louse." So it is important that many people come together for the same cause, and then they are going to get better results. So we cannot work in isolation as a congregation. We need others. And then another recommendation was for each sister to write a detailed report about how they have concretely integrated the themes of CST in their ministry during the year. And this has already started. So at the beginning of this year, each sister was requested to submit this report. And then superiors of communities will be required to report once a year on concrete ways in which CST is expressed in their communities. And so in our action plans for this year, the sisters were encouraged to find ways of incorporating this so that CST became a part of us in our various communities. And then in our various apostolates, there is need to also encourage, to engage and orient workers to be CST smart in their activities. So in other words, there is need for us to share our charism so that we don't just work in isolation as sisters, but we also involve the sisters that we work, the other collaborators we work with. We share our values. We share the themes of Catholic social teaching so that all of us are on the same page. What are the lessons that I have learned through my study of Loyola, through my study of Catholic social teaching through the Loyola Institute for Ministries? I think the greatest lesson I have learned is that faith without works is dead. This is from James chapter 2, verse 26. So Catholic social teaching makes my faith more meaningful because I have begun to see that the everyday social concerns are actually things that I need to take seriously in my faith. It's not just about scriptures, but about everyday activities. All these are there to nurture my faith. And as a congregation, we should not work in isolation, as I mentioned earlier on. Our ministries and charism help to live the mission of the larger church. So that is why it is important that we share this charism with others. And a deepened understanding of Catholic social teaching will enable the sisters of the Holy Spirit to respond better to God's call and to be of better service to the people they serve. So there will not be any dichotomy between my faith and the other works that I do, but there will be a great integration because of CST. So that is why it is important that every sister in the congregation has a deepened knowledge about Catholic social teaching. Thank you very much.